he's from Georgia, and that's where this dog's at. And so, he's gonna go, him and his girlfriend, we actually rescued, so we were in Mississippi in the back roads, boonies, man, couldn't see.
Yeah, you told me you rescued a puppy or something.
So that's the guy who we gave the dog to, and it was like a purebred dog too, so they love the dog, and anyways, we started talking to him, because like flying him out right now, ever since COVID or something, like, and it's cold, so you can't like, because they put him in like the carrying area, so long story short, he and his girlfriend are gonna pick him up, come meet us at the Ozarks. My dad's buddy from high school has an Airbnb there, and both of his boys are actually my age, and I think one plays for San Diego State on their baseball team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just like, they've wanted to get us together for a minute now. Yeah, it'll be cool. Basically, we get a dog, do a little exchange there. Those guys were going out to Kentucky for like a family trip anyways, and so he's like, yeah, it's like a couple hours out of our way to go bring your dog to you, so
yeah.
No big deal.
Close this real quick. You gonna spin the wheel, dude, or what? I made it just for you. You wanna see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
Those are options.
Buzz cut, bowl cut, bald. God, there's a lot of buzz cuts on here for the rat tail. Another buzz cut. Barber's choice. I already know what that's gonna be. Mullet, bald, buzz cut. Man, where's the hard part? This is all bad. I'm not sure what's worse.
I'll go ahead and spin for you, dude. Damn, buzz cut it is.
Imagine that. It's only on there 5 times. That's funny. Buzz cut, bald, mullet, rat tail.
No, I think I'm gonna make that like a thing though, to like a little game. I might tape like pictures of haircuts on there, so that way it's like I don't know. They'll be good ones.
It'll be kind of cool.
Ones.
Yeah, it'll be kind of cool.
Well, they might be messed up when I do them. Sit forward real quick. Just want to keep this over the back of the chair so that way it doesn't get on, hair doesn't get on you.
Sort of God, it's like no matter how tight you get wrapped up, you always got an itchy t-shirt.
Yeah. We're doing a higher fade this time, or what are you thinking?
Let's do kind of the mid like you did, but can you blend it super tight so I'm like really sharp?
Yeah.
And then I want you to leave it long like you did last time. I'd like that
on
a little
top?
bit longer on top. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, it'd be funny to do though. Like when I just decide, I'm like, all right, buzz cut time. We'll just come in and do that.
Spin the wheel?
Yeah, it'd be funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some. I think I don't know, man. Like, what would you, as a customer, like? Would you rather have the names of the haircuts on there or pictures of them? Like, should I tape pictures of haircuts on there?
I think it would help a little bit, probably. And I think it would just like make it more of a fun game, like for your business, if you have like some of your cuts that you've done on there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, I don't know, bald would be like a spoof.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna get Caden Riley to play it when he comes.
I think he totally would too.
I had some people. Ben said he'd play it, but the thing about Ben is he can't do a lot of hairstyles because he's got such curly hair.
I mean,
it's gonna make
yeah,
for some
that's
comedy,
true.
I think.
And like for me, I'm just like I could always wear a hat if it's that bad.
Yeah. Well, after I got the wheel, one of my buddies sent me this video of these guys that had the picture. You know how Matt has the pictures of the haircuts on the wall? It's like a poster, and they're throwing darts at it to see what haircut you get.
That's kind of cool.
And then, which if I didn't have cement walls, then I'd definitely try to do that.
Yeah.
Unless I can find like a cork board to put behind a poster.
Yeah, that would probably work.
And then I gotta send back my wheel. But I'm gonna use the wheel for Christmas too. I'm gonna put some discounts and stuff on there.
Oh, that's a good
People
idea.
can win, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
We're doing an open house next Friday. So you should swing by here, man. I guess Suzanne's gonna have a big prize for everyone that visits like all the units in here.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're just kind of showing off like the rental spaces, basically.
Kinda, yeah.
Cool. That's next Friday, you said?
Yep, the 16th, all day. Swing by, spin the wheel, see if you get a discount or some kind.
I'm happy that they because this is such a good location, and it's crazy to me like that they ever got run down like this in the first place.
Yeah. Well, when have you ever known this place to not be run down? It's just kind of like, it's been here for so long, people look past it. A lot of people don't even remember that it's here. They just, and it's like smack in the middle of town.
Yeah, which is terrible. Yeah, it makes it look like.
But no, now people starting to come over here a lot.
Yeah, they're doing a good. I mean, Russ, there's nothing he can't do.
Yeah.
Construction wise, so that's very helpful. Those two are like, that's a good tandem, man. When they got married, I was happy for them because I'm like, their businesses and like their vision goes like way hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. What topics you got for me today, man?
You know, I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, what do I ask this guy? And so it's kind of free for all in it a little bit. One thing I think that would be helpful is, so let's say you're not Chase Dominguez and you don't know how you want to get your haircut. You're not me. Like, how do you come in? Because at one point I was like that, where I would go in and I just would be like, lower my ears, basically, is what you say. So it's like, how do you pick? So I guess there's a difference between a haircut and a hairstyle too, but like your haircut like allows for you to have a hairstyle. Like if you're gonna come in, how do you help choose that? Like what should you ask your barber? And then as a barber, what's your advice to people like when you're going in? How are you gonna help someone like pick a hairstyle?
That's a good question. So if they just have no clue, you're kind of looking at like, I'll ask questions like, okay, well, do you like to style your hair? Or does the way you go about your day, like?
So is it kind of like maintenance is kind of your first question?
Maintenance is a question I'll ask. I won't say the first question. How short maybe are you willing to go? Yeah, maintenance is one of those things. Then I kind of look at like their head shape and kind of what I can think of, kind of what I can imagine. Then I'll run it by them and try to meet in somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
A lot of people when you're learning haircuts or anything like that, they tell you to look at the face shape. But I kind of look at more like the overall head shape, Face shape is important too. I mean, you don't want to, somebody with a super round head and face probably wouldn't look good with a buzz cut or something that's a little shorter all around, because it's gonna it'll kind of show off that roundness. So you might want to have something
show
more
the shape of their head
right,
more.
Something more like what you have, where it elongates the shape of their head and their face and kind of makes them look a little slimmer.
Gotcha. I see.
Something with a little more volume maybe on top.
So if you got a big head, you're going to probably have a little bit more hair. Like you could maybe take some down on the sides, but like where it starts to show like, the shape of your skull up top.
You can go pretty short if you have a big head, but I think, who kind of matters like in the back too. Like, what do you look good with and stuff? Maybe they have some dents and stuff, and maybe some bigger guys have rolls in the back of their head and don't want to really show that off. I might offer them something like a taper, which is just like a little fade in the sideburn and the neck area, so it's still clean, but it's not as short as what you're doing. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. So it all matters. And another thing is to learn like their hair and their head and like what. Everybody's a little different. Yeah. So you got to kind of mold. Like sometimes they'll show you a haircut.
Big thing I learned from you, and I've been getting my hair cut this way, and I have 3 of my friends that are, so you, Ricky, and Andreas, 3 of my really good friends are all barbers. So it's like I've been around a lot of, haircuts and just people talking about that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I had no clue still how to get my hair cut. As far as now, I can walk in somewhere, and just when you told me, you're like, oh, like, when I give you a fade, I bring it like lower in the back because of that calic, and then it lays down all right. Because otherwise I'd go, and I'm like, oh, like this is a picture of what my barber does to me at home. And then they would cut it, and then my hair would stick up in the back for the next month.
Yeah.
And ever since you told me that, I'm like, I had no idea that's how you did that.
Well, that's just like, yeah, like a personal thing. Like, you know, people will call that like a drop fade, but I was actually just talking with Ricky about this the other day. Like, barbers don't call a lot of haircuts what the clients call them.
Right.
Nowadays, like, what people would call your haircut more of like a drop fade because it drops in the back. We just do it because it fits your head shape better.
So you're just kind of more like just being malleable with it, and you're not saying
yeah. So when you
it's
make,
not a
like,
specific
when I cut your
cut.
hair,
You're like, that's just how I cut Maddie's hair.
You know, some guys will just go straight and do the same steps, and it just kind of doesn't look right. You got
to make the haircut.
You can make
for the
some
individual.
haircuts look good on anybody.
Yeah.
But there's some cuts that just, no matter what you do, like their head shape just doesn't fit that.
Like head shape, how the hair grows, face, all these things.
Or like somebody with like you have straight hair, but it does have, you know, you can lay it down and stuff, but your hair doesn't go straight out. Some guys, they can't pull this cut off because it just doesn't lay down and do what they want.
So, knowing what you know, do you feel like someone should come in and be like, hey, Riley, like, you know, I get my hair cut, like, you know, pretty short or whatever, but I don't really have I can't say that I have something I do with it. Like, because for me, I'm like, oh, I get, like you said, like a drop fade, you know, like the guards that I use going up, you blend it a little bit and leave the length on top, cut in a hard part. So basically I have like a classic hard part cut.
Yeah.
And do you think someone should be like, what do you think I should style something if I have more of a... One of the things I liked is when you said like, hey, we cut your hair like this for this reason. So you took into account like basically what the person does, like occupation and like, are they active, that sort of thing.
Do we want, like, there's some guys like that, maybe they don't have work in like a professional setting. They wear hard hats or something for work and they can go a little crazy, or they want to keep it even more maintained because it bugs them wearing a hat.
Right.
Like I got Francisco comes in here, and I think he works at Taco John's right now, but he's doing like welding school. He doesn't need to look super professional for that. And then we have a haircut going for him that fits his fighting kind of like
his personality
persona,
and like yeah, sure.
So he has like the crazy mohawk, and dude's walking around town with makeup on, and it looks intimidating and cool. But you know, But you, on the other hand,
so like
probably wouldn't want that.
Why do you cut my, like, explain why you cut my hair, like, or what? You know, I chose this, but in your mind, you're like, okay, why does this fit me?
Well, I mean, it does fit you. It's pretty low maintenance for, I mean, other than the fact that you like to get it cut, every 10 days or something.
Yeah. That's just because I'm anal about being fuzzy on the side, you know?
It's super clean.
To me, like, a haircut's like taking a shower, brushing my teeth. It's in the same realm as that.
Yeah.
It just like
I think it should be, honestly.
often.
There's a lot of people that, I mean, that's hard for me to say because I'm looking pretty rough right now, but when a barber,
like this guy's after our money.
when the barber is the one that looks rough, that's how you know that they've been busy, that they're a busy barber.
That goes for a personal trainer too, man. When was the last day that you worked out? I'm like I remember when I got my private spot opened up, I'm like, man, I can't wait to actually use this stuff. It's been a week, and I'm like, they're like, what do you think of your equipment? I'm like, I don't know, my clients like it. I haven't got to use it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. You would think like, oh, this guy doesn't take his advice, but it's like, no, you're just too busy doing it for everyone else.
Yeah, dude, I cut my own hair because I don't really have a lot to begin with anyways, but sometimes I'll get like a new clip or two, and I'll be like asking people what it feels like instead of like, you know, because sometimes they'll pull or they'll be a little more rough on people or stuff like that, but I always like, sometimes I'll cut my hair with like a new clipper that I never use, and I'm like, so that's what it feels like to get their hair cut by me.
It's like, sorry guys, just now finding out you really are guinea pigs.
Sorry.
It's not tried and true.
Yeah, this thing's loud. But no, like, I don't know, it kind of fits, like, you want to have that like kind of dapper look that's versatile, and you know, we leave a little length up here so that way, you know, if you don't want to, you're wearing a hat or whatever that kind of covers the hard part and doesn't look, you know, too buzzed or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I cut your hair in this style because that's what you asked for since I've known you, you know.
Yeah.
But if you, I'm sure, like, judging off of like your hair type and stuff, like the texture and the density of it, you could probably rock something else that still looks just as business casual, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, and I think that's right. It's like the balance of, you know, like, you got to look a little bit sharper sometimes. I can't just only look like I train like an athlete for a living. You know, if so, I'd probably have taken my roulette wheel buzz cut.
Yeah, honestly, dude, I think you could rock a buzz cut. I think you really could.
He's gonna get me one of these days. Probably not gonna have a choice.
Yeah, one of these days he's gonna do it.
You know. Honestly, the only annoying thing about it is that I have to see so many people, and it's.
Oh, it'll be a shocker for him.
Yeah, it's not even like the judgment or like look bad or whatever. It's gonna be like, oh wow, that's so different. Especially because I've done this for now. Like, shoot, I started doing this when I was 19. I think I started getting a hard part cut.
I think if you ever want to switch hairstyles up, get a buzz cut first and grow it out and kind of see what your hair does on its own.
You know what I don't want to have for the buzz cut is I wish I could just basically have this or the buzz cut. I hate the in between. Like the getting back to this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because like you said, your hair is really straight and the edges would be sticking out for a little bit.
Yeah, you're just kind of scruffy and stuff. And then I'm going to be like, dude, I can't stand this. Just give me another buzz cut.
Yep. Or you're gonna like how you don't have to get up and like style your hair, put product in there and stuff like that. And
hold me to this. I was talking to one of my clients the other day. He's 70, right? And he doesn't have that. He's got a little bit receding in the front, kind of. I don't know if it's not like a widow's peak, but it's a little bit receding on the sides, and then like right in the middle of his head, like where is that the crown of your head or the cowlick in the back there? I think
right here.
Yes,
the crown,
right.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not like the old professor school teacher that's like completely bald on top. Like he still has a little slick back haircut and everything. But I asked him like, all right, so I'm like, you go completely bald on top. What do you do? And I'm like, are you keeping the sides or are you going all the way bald? He's like, shaving it, man. It's like good.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah, man. I think for a lot of people that kind of suits you a little bit more.
Are you like, so it's not, I mean, because I came in, like you said, and I'm just like, hey, this is what I like to do. And we kind of change it up a little bit from time to time. Mm-hmm. But if someone comes in, like, should they be more proactive about like asking your opinion on stuff like this? Because I feel like you're kind of in like the service industry of like, hey, what do you want? Okay, I'm going to give that to you. Versus like, what if there's something that, I don't know, might be, because I used to wear my hair pretty much straight down all the time. And I mean, that was terrible. I looked like a 12-year-old boy. And that's just like what we all did in school. And I wish I would have probably done something a little bit more adult earlier, I guess. But I didn't know what to do.
So, should they ask me?
Yeah, should they ask you, like, hey, Riley, like, what do you think would look good on my head? And like, even if they don't do it, but like, what's your opinion?
Maybe.
Because otherwise, like, you probably don't want to feel
really,
like you're just telling someone what to do with their hair.
Honestly, a lot of the time I'll do something like if they want to go super short on the sides or whatever, they don't really care. And I'm like combing through their hair and looking to see. I might suggest something similar to what you have without the part.
Because that's how the buzz cut got brought up, actually, as you just like started as a joke. Be like, dude, no, you should let me do that.
Yeah.
Because I think that.
No, I mean, yes and no. Some people will come in and they'll show a picture and like, okay, they have your hair type and like you could, you don't have, your hair has a slight wave to it when it gets longer. But right now it's straight, it's pretty like, I would call it like a medium texture, medium density and stuff. But like they'll come in and they'll show me some crazy haircut with like super wavy hair in the top and like kind of curly, and they'll be like, I want my hair just like this, and I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work, because like they don't have the hair that, or maybe their hair's like I said, like they want it like yours, but their hair just sticks out everywhere. So I'm like, we can maybe try to find a way to get close to that, but I think something like this, and then give them a suggestion of what might work better.
Okay, yeah, so you're kind of like making that haircut work for the individual like we talked about earlier.
Yeah. And while I'm recording and I'm reaching out to another, I guess, group of people other than my own, barbers I would bet 90% of barbers, if not more, would rather you bring in a picture of what you want your hair to look like rather than coming in and being like, I want a high fade.
Explain it.
Or I want a taper fade with a hard part or with a line or something like that, rather than trying to explain it, because I don't know how many times I've had someone come in and say, yeah, I want a low fade, or I want a taper fade, or I want something like that, and then I do what I think is that haircut.
But that's not what they
thought.
But
in their part of the world that they're from, it's something different.
Gotcha.
And
or we probably don't know the terminology, like because before I just probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, finally asked Ricky, what is the difference between a taper and a fade? And he's like, oh, I'm like, oh, I got you. So like to me, like I look at a fade as like it's like halves, kind of like more aggressive, and then the taper it just like is stairs.
Yeah, I would say like a taper, like if somebody was coming from maybe like a haircut where they're getting like a 3 on the sides, and they're like, I kind of want to go like, you know, a little bit more tighter on the sides, and they want to get something like yours.
Go taper
I might suggest
first.
like, yeah, do a taper, because it's like you're still gonna have the darkness through probably 70% of your head, but then on the sideburns you get that little fade, and then the neck it's a little tighter. So it's a good stepping stone. Some guys only want tapers, or maybe if you're growing your hair out, taper's a good option because it leaves you more room to blend it up on top and stuff. But
right.
Even that, man, I've noticed a lot of people from like Texas will come in and they'll be like, "Oh, I just get a taper fade." So then you give them that, what we just said, and they're like, "Oh, are you gonna fade it like all the way around still?" And I'm like, that's just a fade, you know. Like, there's no need to call it a taper fade.
Right.
So
right.
that's why I'd rather have pictures. Like, sometimes they'll explain it to me good, but I always want to be on the same page with them. And I'll be like, "Do you have a picture of like the last time you got your hair cut?"
And then everyone's like, well, I mean, what you're essentially saying is like super common sense, because it's like, I remember when I was learning, when I bought my house and I had to remodel it, it was so, if someone would have said, hey, yeah, here's how you drywall, like you hang it like this and then you mud like this, and I'm like, what did I do? I just looked up on YouTube and you watch. Like if you read like the step-by-step of it, like that's why no one reads the instructions, because you'd rather just look it up on YouTube, but you're just basically saying, hey, can I have a visual? And because everyone learns visually for the most part better.
Yeah, because, you know, guys will come in and they'll try to explain to you, basically draw up a mental image of what they want their hair to look like. And I mean, most barbers can follow that too, but it's just so much easier to go off of the picture.
Well, like it's like English and Spanish in the sense that like you might be speaking, your terms are totally off, you know. Like,
and it's funny because like we learn all these terms in barber school and stuff, but then and it's funny because people that get out of school, they're so technical about everything, they don't want to mess up.
Right.
And I have to, like, I do a lot of mentorships and stuff, and I'll be like, think about before you came here, did you know these words like when you were getting your hair cut?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I didn't. So it's like,
and you had an interest in this stuff, so like the average person's not gonna have a clue.
Yeah. So it's like, don't get caught up in like what you learned here. You got to learn there's a million different ways to say something. And back to the picture thing, if you show any barber that's probably been out of school for 2 years or more, they're gonna know like, okay, I need to do a 3 or a 4 on the sides or whatever. They'll be able to tell what guards they need to use to get that look. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I have dudes that bring in pictures of celebrities they saw in movies and wanting to get that haircut for the first time, and it just helps a heck of a lot more than just trying to like figure it out, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
that way you both have the expectation down. I kind of do hate when guys come in and want something crazy and they try to explain it to me, and you just can't get on the same page. It doesn't happen a heck of a lot, but
here and there.
Yeah.
Well, especially if someone's wanting something like that, they're probably, it's pretty specific, but yeah, you're not within like your normal realm with that.
Sure.
So now, I had a conversation with one of my clients the other day, and I mean, this guy's he's done a lot of things that I think we all aspire to do. He's ran a great business, sold it now, so he's basically gifted it onto some other partners. Great reputation in town. We were talking about or basically continuing education, and so he was talking about basically how people in his industry don't like ever go to seminars or workshops or like keep learning. And like I was talking to him about, he's like, how do you continuing ed in your business? And I'm like, it's kind of like when we talked about on our last haircut, like your haircuts, when you were doing it in the garage or at barber school versus now, and it's like you're like, wow, I'm way better. And that's how I think my programming is, my nutrition plans, my sessions with clients overall. It's just like, and not that there's not some of those same things that you continue to build off of, those foundations, but everything's always getting refined. And so how do you go about, because I think the thing is I feel like I was thinking about that it's almost exclusive to business as far as continuing education, but I'm like, this should just be what you do, like no matter what you do, like you should continue to educate yourself on like anything that can make you better. So how do you go about that within your business realm?
I mean, I agree
also like personally, like is there, because I think like I educate myself on my interests, if that makes sense. I'm not like looking up things that don't interest me or benefit me or my clients, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of see what you thought on that and see where that takes us.
So I agree with what your client said. I think looking up stuff on YouTube and Instagram and learning, taking little pieces from that's great. And I think you can't be afraid to try new things, but going in person and shaking hands with other people in your business and getting to pick their brain a little bit, even if it's just kind of like shooting the breeze with them. To me, it's there's no comparison.
That's cool.
So we went to Salt Lake like 2 months ago, I think already, for a barber convention, and me and my two buddies were the only 3 barbers from, I'm pretty sure, from Wyoming in that whole thing, and there's hundreds of barbers there. And I mean, one of my buddies opened up a shop in the summertime, and to see him going and talking to other shop owners and talking to some big name guys in our industry.
So you're networking,
right? I think it's key, man. Like, to me, like, you get so much more. Like, we got a VIP package, so we got to go to an education seminar in the morning, and it was, I think, 3 or 4 different educators, and one of them we've all been watching, and like, just the amount of notes we were writing, pictures we're taking, videos and stuff to kind of remember everything. Like, you get so much from going to stuff like that. It's crazy. Like, I think it's so slept on.
Yeah.
Some guys have too much pride, like, or maybe they just kind of burnt out, and they're like, oh, well, like, once you know how to cut hair, you can do anything. But I think it's all about that perspective, you know.
Those are the people that kind of stay the same in life and in business. Sure. I would say, yeah. I think you're kind of bringing up a good point of, if I was gonna decipher what you're saying a little bit, is there's maybe a difference. Like, continuing education is at the palm of our hand with our cell phones, right?
Yeah.
Podcasting,
little
YouTube,
things here and there you can pick up.
I'm sure you follow a lot of barber pages. I know there's a guy you told me about that does like that's got like a big name brand that goes around and cuts hair, and I mean, they pay him the big bucks for it, whatever. But it's just good to see that, like, where you can see what's really the scope and spectrum of your industry. But there's a difference between like continuing ed, kind of, but there's like a bridge, I guess, between that and just straight up networking, like you said.
I think both, honestly.
Shaking hands and like being around people that like the power's kind of still in the people. Like, just go meet people and see people doing what you're doing.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of people, you know, the networking part is important. I'm sure dentists and doctors and lawyers know other people in there. They got good relationships with them.
Yep.
And I don't know how much for like personal training it's like that, but for barbers it's kind of not like that. And I try to get as many. I have like a really solid group of barber friends that I know. Like, I would put them up against anybody else in the surrounding states and stuff. You know, these guys, they're passionate about what they do.
And you guys all respect each other. And
that's the number one thing is, you know, we always sharing each other's stuff on social media, which you don't see a lot of.
I've noticed that in the barbering world, just how you and Ricky interact, to be honest, because like you're essentially competitors, and you don't see like I was talking to another friend here just yesterday. I had to go pay a bill, and he's just a really good business mind, and again, like, a lot older than me. But he just said, like, I asked him, like, hey, how are you doing with this side of your business? He goes, oh, well, yada yada. I'm like, do you talk to so and so anymore? He's like, no, ever since I opened that side of my business. He goes, because I used to take my business to this guy, and then I just opened it up myself because it kind of was in my niche, and now, like, you know, he doesn't talk to me anymore. You know, and like with you guys,
there's guys like that too, but
you guys aren't like that whatsoever.
I try not to be like that, and I try not to surround myself with people like that. It
seems like a good competition. It's kind of, I was talking about this on a podcast when one of my YouTube videos I ran up, where I'm like, I don't have like all my top tier friends that I'm close with and talk to on a monthly basis are all the type of guys that it's funny. It's like we're the most competitive with each other.
Yeah.
But yet it's always clapping, like, whenever you're doing anything good, and you know that, like, it's something you can feel and tell. There's no jealousy or envy that exists whatsoever, and that's refreshing.
Yeah.
But
so with me, if I see someone, I with like on the local spectrum or like within the state or you know, even in Scottsbluff, if I see someone that can do something that I haven't done yet or haven't seen yet, or I try to do it. You know, I reach out to them. You know, I reach out if they're using tools or
barbering and training are different in that or the same in that sense that, like, you have an endless tool belt that you can equip yourself with. Like there's so many different like ways to cut hair, and like it was cool. What'd you take on my head? Was it this thing the other day where you like scraped it down a little bit or something?
Oh, just a straight razor, yeah.
You did something funny with like I don't know, like I'm like, hey, you didn't cut my hair like that last time, and you're like, I want to try that out. Way to blend hair. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it.
But yeah, like I think keeping a network and keeping.
And like,
I think you should always support
have that like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly.
You don't really have like a lot of people in Torrington specifically that do what you do.
Yeah, and even in like Scotts Bluff, I mean, like there is, but it's just not. I don't know. You don't really. Yeah, it's just a little bit different and stuff. But I can catch people that have a little bit of like my niche for sure.
Yeah. If I have clients that move to Casper or to Cheyenne or to Laramie, I have built a network so strong that I know
who to send them to.
And I don't send people to just anybody just because I like them, you know.
Right.
I'll be like, my boy such and such.
Like
he does just as good as I do, if not better. You can go to him.
Yep, there you go. That's cool.
And they do the same for me. I've had a bunch of people that would be like, yes, this person sent me your way, said you're a good option.
Yeah, passing through Torrington, man. I need a haircut.
Yeah. Same with the guys in Scotts Bluff. Sometimes people are like, I got to go to. I'll be booked, super booked. Matt and Ricky are super booked. And so it's like, do you know anybody in Scotts Bluff who can get me in? I'll just go to, this place. And I'll be like, no, don't go to...
Cost cutters?
Yeah. I mean, nothing against cost cutters. I think there is people that have come from cost cutters that do... I mean, I know barbers now that have worked in chain places like that.
For sure.
And built their skill set up.
Hey, it's risky.
It is because, sometimes you get the person fresh out of school and they're a little nervous. And if you got an event to go to, that might not be your best option.
I'm gonna say this, like, this is one thing about, because I have one of my friends, this is probably 3 or 4 years ago, he wanted to get like a taper, and he wanted kind of that like real subtle faux hawk on top, and he went into like a salon to get that done, and they messed it up pretty good, and I'm like, man, you wouldn't go, like, someone doesn't come to you to get highlights and colored in their hair, you know what I mean? Like a girl. So it's like...
Yeah, or some people will come to me, and I don't know why, because you on social media, you post what you like to do. You don't...
So they kind of know you're, like...
But I've had people bring me, like, come with, like, long hair, and they're like, he just wants it, like, layered up, and I'm like, dude, okay, I'm going to do my best, but that ain't my... I've had people ask me for perms and stuff, and I'm not even licensed to do any of that, but... that's the thing, within town, I know people are comfortable enough to send people like, hey, go to such and such over at this salon. She does good perms. I went to school with her or whatever,
If you are a man, go to a barbershop. Plus, it's fun. There's a lot of shit talked in here, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, Ricky and I talked about that. There's nothing like the barbershop vibe, man. That's why, like, Coming to America, all these shows, those are classic there's scenes, always, like, depicted scenes. Yeah.
The barbershop, no matter what country you're in, is like it's like where all the culture comes to one,
And nothing against it, ladies, but you guys are going to talk about all kinds of gossipy whatever, which is
No,
great.
we do too. If the camera wasn't rolling, I'd have some stuff to tell you today. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, and in here, nothing serious. Everything's a joke. I think that's one of the things that I've figured out. Like, when you listen to people that have, like, even if it's not doing what you do, but you do something similar to them, or not similar, just able to take, like, how they were successful. And, like, this guy telling me, like, continuing education is huge. And just making sure you do that.
I think continuing education and networking are from a business standpoint, are two of the biggest things you can do.
Business, personal.
You don't want to burn any bridges. You don't want bad relationships, because that could be potential business that you turn away. And there's always stuff to learn. Always
stuff to learn. That's a good place to end.
Yeah,
always stuff to learn. Yeah, I do need to...
hurry up and get this dude out of my shop.
Yeah, right. All right, my man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, dude.
I'll Venmo you this one, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. All
right, guys, we're out. Barbershop Talk, episode 2. Just finished up. We hope that you guys enjoyed that one. Just kind of a little bit of a free flow there. And as always, I appreciate your guys' support. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll keep these videos pushing. Matt with RPT, out.